And hello, everyone. Welcome to another power scanning session. It is April 12th, 2025. My name is Daniel, and I will be your moderator today. And once again, today we're going to, scan for the most interesting setups for the week ahead. And I can tell you there are quite a few because the latest market pullback with the potential of having found a low point in the market opens up a whole realm of new opportunities for us for the week and weeks ahead. But before we get into it, let me ask you guys a question. Where are you calling in from? Who do we have in the room today? So I myself, I'm calling in from beautiful Brazil. I'm in Fortaleza, right at the beach in the northeast region of Brazil, which is quite near the equator. So it's, as you can imagine, it's quite toasty outside, which can be a nice thing to have after such a long winter, especially we are from the northern regions of North America. We're from Montreal, this is our headquarters, so it's good to get a bit of a break there. All right, so who do we have? Please put your location into the Q&A box. Who do we have? John from in Austin, Texas. Hey, John, good to see you. Aubrey from Coldish Cyprus, not so toasty, aber. Thomas from Heiligenstadt, Germany. Hi, Thomas, nice to have you. Robert from Richmond, Kentucky. Hey, Robert, good to see you. John from Birdsview, Washington. Nice. Welcome there. Keith from the Scottish borders, which are on the Scottish sides, not the British sides. All right. And then we have Rick from Cleveland. Hey, Rick, how are you? Zahor from Toronto. Hey, Zahur, how are you doing? Perfect. Awesome. Wow. Once again, a fairly international distribution. We have North America, we have South America, and we have Europe. Perfect. All right. So let's get started. Okay, but before we do, just real quick, let me go to my different screen. A quick intro, just in case you are joining us for the very first time. We are, of course, tradingindicators.com, an online store specializing on creating innovative trading tools, mostly trading indicators. That's where our name comes from. But we also build trading dashboards and trading scanners. And one such scanner we're going to be using today, which is our Liquidity View dashboard, which comes with a scanner which scans to roughly 5,000 symbols to find the ones which have the most promising setups. And as you will see, using the scanner, it will simplify your trading by quite a bit because it will do all the heavy lifting for you. Because we strongly believe in, hey, trading can be simple. And in fact, trading is simple, but you need to use the right tools. All right. Also, a quick reminder that if you have any questions, please don't be shy, don't hold back. Put your questions into the Q&A box, and Niklas, who is in the room today, will keep an eye on those questions too and bring them to my attention as we proceed through this presentation. Also, please keep in mind that trading stocks, forex, futures, and other asset classes does contain substantial risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right. Now, a couple of housekeeping items before we get to our market overview. First off, please check out our Liquidity View bootcamp, especially if you're new to our scanner, because in that bootcamp, the link is down here. Niklas will put this link also into the chat box. In this bootcamp, you will learn every single feature and how to use it and what it can bring to the table. Okay, so please check it out. There are so many features built in. In these webinars, we can only touch on a few of them, but if you watch the bootcamp, you will get the entire overview. Also, check out our Discord channel if you have not joined us, because in there, first off, you can ask questions, you can connect with our trading community, and you can benefit from our automated trade alerts, which we have for the day trading timeframes, but also for the swing trading and longer term timeframes. So no matter what kind of trader you are, whether you are a day trader or a swing trader, you can take advantage of the content in our Discord channel. And of course, we also have a trading talks channel where we discuss interesting setups with our members. So please check it out. The link is down here, tradingindicators.com/Discord, and joining is entirely free. All right. Now, lastly, in this session, we will interactively scan for interesting setups using our Liquidity View dashboard. And it's best if you follow along. And if you don't have access yet to the pro version of Liquidity View, we offer a 1-week free trial. And all you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/view to quickly sign up for this trial version. And the good thing is that you will get instant access. So right away, as soon as you sign up for the trial, you will get access to our trial version, and you can join along in this session. All right. So now let's, two more things. Oh boy, there's always so many housekeeping items. Please also check out our ebook, The Power of Three, where we detail the 3 setups further, which we're gonna be using in today's scanning session. And of course, if you have any feedback regarding our scanner, regarding our dashboard, please don't hold back. We'll use all your feedback to further improve Liquidity View. So your feedback is super important, and we take it very seriously. So if you have any recommendations, please put them also into the Q&A box, or simply email me. The email address it's going to be posted a bit later on if you have any suggestions. With this, let's not wait any longer. Without any further ado, let's start with our market review. What has happened in the market? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I have a feeling, but of course it's just a feeling, it's an intuition, but I have a feeling that we may have seen a low point in this big correction that we've seen as of late. Why do I say this? Well, I'm going to explain to you now. So let me switch over to our dashboard. Just a second. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to clear out all the filters, and let's start with the SPY. So SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. Okay, so, all right, let me make this a little bit bigger. And what you see here is a drawing, which I drew onto the chart, step by step over the last couple of months. First off, I noticed, hey, we do have this longer term uptrending channel, which we broke in March, and this coincided also with this break of a key support level. Do you see this little red line here? This was a key support level which we broke back in the end of February, the beginning of March. So we broke below it. The price movement continued in the direction of the breakout, in this case the bearish direction, all the way until we hit the third MA rush line. And if you follow along, oftentimes these MA rush lines, they can act as dynamic support, which we exactly saw here. Then follow the blue line here, then the retracement back further up. And where did the retracement stop? Almost to the T at this broken support level, which is now acting as resistance. We all know support can become resistance. And then the down move continued further. Now this 1, 2, 3 is our classic zone break retrace setup. So this was to some degree, of course, there was some risk, but to some degree, from a technical point of view, this was predictable to some degree. All right. Now, what was not so easy to predict is where would it stop? Where would this down move stop? I first thought there's a fairly good chance. This is why I drew this this blue line here. This is from last week. I first thought, hey, we may stop at this support level. You can see it here. This was a big support level. Prices did not stop there. Instead, they went one level further down, all the way to this former resistance level. And once again, once resistance is broken, and we broke this resistance level back in, let me just quickly scroll back a little bit. When did we hit it? Back in, 1 second, if this ever reloads. My Brazilian Wi-Fi is not the fastest, but back in January 2024, we broke this resistance level, and then price retraced back to it. But once broken, these levels will act as support. Exactly, we saw this here. This hit support, and prices then sharply bounced off it. In fact, we did have the biggest bullish day recorded in history, at least in Nasdaq. This is the SPY, but Nasdaq at this big up bar here. This huge bounce off this level. But even before this, you can see price bounce off this level before. So this seems to be a significant level. And to me, it feels, and again, it's a feeling, this feels like we may have found a low point in the market. Should that be the case, should this be the low point of this correction, there will be plenty of opportunities moving forward. Because if this bounce leads to price turning bullish again and eventually approaching the all-time highs, lots of stocks right now will be at discount right now. And if this bullish bounce happens, these can be great opportunities to enter into the long direction. So, all right. So this is the SPY, and price bounced off sharply all the way from 482, give or take, now back to 530. So that's a big move. That's 50 points. All right. Now, this was the SPY, but let's have a look what's going on at the QQQs. All right, so QQQ, very similar picture. And oftentimes the SPY and the QQQ, they are trading somewhat in tandem. You can see it here. We hit our all-time high. Then the zone break here, retracement back to resistance, back to this former support level, which is now acting as resistance. And then the move continued all the way to this, well, once again to this broken resistance level, which is now acting as support. So it's a very similar picture. And also here, I feel that we may have seen a low point. All right. Of course, it's a news-driven environment we are in right now. Volatility is extremely high, so we never know. Of course, I always have to keep this in mind. But if this is a low point, then lots of stocks, as I mentioned before, will be on discount right now. And what these stocks are, we're going to discover together in this session. Okay, so oil. Okay, if you are reading our newsletter, you probably noticed that oil was a trade idea that we put out there. Of course, we did put a bit of a disclaimer that's saying that, hey, this is a news-driven environment. Volatility is extremely high. Trade at your own risk, which of course you always do. But what happened in oil? Well, I thought, and this was back here, so prices obviously went much, much lower. But this was part of our disclaimer saying that, hey, volatility is extremely high. You may need to give this trade a bit more room. So prices went lower, but I thought when it approached this blue line here, the lower end of the sideways channel, I thought this could be a great opportunity to potentially enter into this into a long trade, anticipating that prices will regain the loss they had and trade towards the middle of this trend channel. So this happened in the past quite a bit, that every time oil approached the lower end of this channel, it rebounded towards the middle or even higher. Rebound, rebound, and one more time rebound. And the same happened with the upper channel. It bounded to the opposite direction. So every time it hit an extreme, this was a great opportunity to re-enter into the opposite direction, anticipating a bounce from that level. So I really like this, and it seems to me that this may still play out. So hopefully you didn't get stubbed out by this big, big down day here, because it's been extremely volatile. But if this continues to the upside, I believe that the gap fill, this big gap and also this big gap, that's definitely in the cards. And I believe, my feel tells me, hey, this may not even take too long until the oil price may recover to these levels. But of course, it all depends whether we will stay within this price region. All right, so that's oil. Let's move on to gold. Oh my goodness. I keep saying gold is overextended. Wait for a deeper pullback. And this is my conservative mind. Wait for a deeper pullback. I said here last week. Maybe it's going to come a bit further down. Nope. It did not. It retraced almost immediately. Look at these big gaps here, up, and once again up, and now we ended up here. All right. This would have been a great entry opportunity last week had we entered on this pullback. I was just too conservative. Now we are all the way up here, and there are two big down gaps. Actually, three. 1, 2, and 3. So what is my take on gold? Well, for sure, it is overextended. Look how far we are away from these MA rush lines. Like really far, especially from the third one. That's miles away of price room there. So that's really overextended. Should you enter right now into gold, into this long trade? I would say no, because it is overextended. It's very expensive right now. And secondly, I'm curious to see whether we're going to fill these gaps. I keep talking about gaps, and trust me, I'm not the only one observing these gaps. A lot of traders are trading that way, and this is why I think this could be somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy that if we anticipate the gap fill, this gap to here, then this gap and this gap, there'll be a bigger retracement in store still in gold. This is definitely in the cards. We'll see what's happening, but these are significant gaps, and I think at least one of them, maybe two, will be filled, perhaps even next week. So be careful of this. Of course, nobody really knows, but it feels to me that this was a massive, massive move up. There's definitely a bit of a correction in store for the beginning of next week. We'll see how this pans out. Okay, so this was gold. Now, what else do we have? What about Tesla? We called out Tesla in our market review on Tuesday, saying that hey, it could have been a nice long bounce opportunity in Tesla, and look what happened here. It really bounced beautifully off this support level. Now we bounced off, and now we're kind of in the middle, in between the support level where we bounced off from and this resistance level. Now, where is price going to go next? It's hard to say, but if we saw a low point in the markets, I think Tesla will be one of the benefactors of that. I think, things are in motion to appease Tesla investors. I think there's a lot of pressure on Musk and everybody involved that this huge decline of Tesla stock all the way from 480 down to 219, more than 50% decline. I think things are now in motion to help price recover. And if we saw indeed a low point in the market, I think Tesla will be one of the main benefactors. So this trend line here, which I drew, which may suggest that we're going to see another leg further down. Of course, it's possible, all the way down to 141. I feel it's kind of more unlikely now. Especially if we somehow can get above this former resistance level, perhaps to like 300, maybe 17 or 18, then I think another leg higher is in the cards. So it's going to be exciting to see what will happen next week. All right, well, let's go look at what about Bitcoin? Where are we with our good old Bitcoin? I keep saying that potentially by June we may see prices of 150,000 because that's historically speaking is what the history suggests. That after the halving process, which makes the mining of Bitcoin twice as difficult, when these halving events occur, within 18 months, the price, historically speaking, has tripled. Well, we have a long way to go. So 150,000 will be all the way up here. That's, of course, miles away, but you never know. It seems to me also in Bitcoin, this was a low point at around 74,000. We retraced to this cluster of support and former resistance. So a big cluster here. Prices responded. Let's see what's happening in Bitcoin. If we're having a good week, you know how fast the symbol can move, how big these candles are. So we may as well recover levels like 90,000, 94,000 within a week. No problem in Bitcoin. But let's see what happens if this holds, of course. All right. So that was our market overview. And Nicholas, are you in the room? Do we have any questions so far that I could address?
No, we have no questions. You're good to
I was going
continue.
to drink some water. Sorry. Go ahead, Nicholas. Sorry.
Can you hear me, Daniel?
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, we just got a question now from David. He says, following up on your GLD gold analysis, would you put an OTM delta 20 to 30 put and give it 30 to 45 days if you were forced to take a trade?
And out of the money, you mean trading gold with options? Let's have a look. Okay. I mean, would I short gold?
20 to 30 put, so I guess perhaps a delta of 20 to 30 and give it 30 to 45 days. So I guess expecting a pullback of that amount.
The pullback and the gap fill, yeah, that's what we talked. Potentially, if you want to take a shot, anticipating the gap fill. The only problem with the gap fill is that these may take a while, so we're not sure how fast these gaps will be filled, and not all gaps get filled. So I mean, super speculative to go short gold. Would be not my cup of tea. But if you were to do it, for sure with options, because then your risk obviously is very limited. and put options, of course, if you're anticipating this bearish pullback. Yep.
Okay, and
All
then
right.
from Aubrey. Aubrey says he's been focusing on stocks with relative strength, and coincidentally, you're in Brazil, and he's been looking at Brazil's above SPA index, and it shows recent resilience. So, do you have any insights into this trend? Specifically, there's a symbol that's showing a bearish to bullish reversal pattern. What are your thoughts on the development, given your location? And
Oh, I have no, besides I'm being physically in Brazil, I have no affinity to the Brazilian market. I don't know. I didn't even look.
the symbol,
So yeah,
though,
I
to
know
look at will be STNE, which is Stone Co.
ST
STNE.
Stonico, that one. Okay.
And what's your
What?
opinion on the Brazilian real as a
Uh,
play, considering the
also,
weakening dollar,
ah,
US dollar?
also no opinion, unfortunately. Yeah. I yeah, I don't have any opinion on the currency, but let me just quickly see if that's yeah. I mean, let's just look from a technical point of view. What is this symbol doing? Seems to be a yeah, well, bearish, a bit of a pullback now above this resistance level. But to me, yeah, it looks fairly bearish. You're making lower highs and lower lows along the way. Now we're at a high point. So if that was something you were thinking of shorting, perhaps, but I would not bet on the long in the long direction right now. We're just near this former resistance level here. Prices may bounce off from it. We can see, they already bounced a bit. So this could just be another bounce to the lower direction, if that's the right symbol. All right.
Okay, yep.
Oh,
And we're all caught up on questions now.
perfect. Okay, so moving on. So let's now find some interesting setups for the week ahead. And of course, we're going to be using our classic setups, bounce, just bounce, pullback, and zone break retrace. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to focus on one setup at a time. Based on what we see, we're going to create a bit of a hot list. And then at the end, we're going to go through our hot list step by step to see which ones are the most promising. Okay, but before we do, actually, I had something else in mind, which I really wanted to make a point of. Let me quickly go back to our scanner and let's pull up last week's ideas that we pulled out. So I'm going to clear out this filter. I'm going to go back to last week's watch list from April 5th. So here we had a couple of symbols, and what are we seeing here? First off, I'll start with the easiest one. CME, of all the symbols, was the one which responded the cleanest to the setup. So we called it out last week. Okay, this is classic zone break retrace. We're just at this level here. Consider going long, and look how beautifully price responded. So that was the cleanest setup that which worked out beautifully so far. So I'm happy with this. Other ones, they also kind of worked out, but with a caveat. And I really want to address this. So let's have a look at AJG, Arthur J. Gallagher, one of our classic symbols, which we've been using many, many times now in our scanning sessions, which have been very, good to us, so to say. So we called out yesterday, or not yesterday, last week, that, hey, we are approaching this broken, or the support level here, this reddish line. You can see this one here. I drew this little a square here, and this could be an interesting opportunity for a bounce. And looking where prices are right now, yes, something that bounced, but the caveat is, and it is so important, look, prices went actually below it and then they bounced off. And what I wanted to say is we need to take into account the current market's volatility. The VIX is all over the place. Candle bars are huge. We potentially need to give our trades more room. And exactly this is what would have been the right decision here. Had we given that trade more room, I'm not sure where your stop loss was. We didn't say where it would be. This could be a great trade right now, but of course, if you get stopped up because you didn't give it enough room, then yeah, that's due to current market volatility. And the takeaway here is that if markets are very, very volatile, we need to give it more room, even if it hurts. See prices against us, it's just part of the game at that point. Another example of this is loaves, which also I believe worked out quite nicely from last week. Well, maybe not so much. We also called it out here. Prices retraced. Now they're back up to that level. But of course, chances are if you had a tight stop loss, you would be taken off by this one. Darden Restaurants being another example. So all these ones, all these long time bullish stocks. Well, not so much this one. They do look good now. So if you are still in these trades, I think the setups are very valid. But of course, we had lots of downside price action throughout the week. A very news-driven week where prices just went all over the place with devastating news based on tariffs to like tax tariffs being taken off again and eased. And oh boy, what a week it has been. Okay, anyways, this was what I wanted to say about last week's alerts, and it's still true moving forward to some degree that in these volatile environments we need to give our trades more room. Alrighty, so let me move on, and now let's have a look at our current setups. So the first one we're going to look at, this is a quick repeat here, is our healthy pullback setup. All right, so what's a healthy pullback? A healthy pullback happens if a stock is in a long-term uptrend or downtrend. We're going to focus on the bullish pullbacks because I do believe we may have seen a low in the market, so that could be super interesting. So we want this long-term uptrend, but not just that, we also want to be a little pause in that trend. Prices retracing a little bit to the downside, ideally perhaps coinciding with a support level or at least with one of our MA rush levels. That would be fantastic. And these pullbacks can be identified by our trend radar indicator, which is the indicator down here, which shows the last row, which is our long-term trend, to be all green, but we have this little red patch in here. You can see these patches, they happen in the past. And every single time this happened, for this particular symbol, for example, they got bought up and we could re-enter into this long direction at a much better price. So exactly, this is what we're looking for such a red patch within a long-term uptrend. So how can we find these ones? Well, let me go back to our scanner. There we go. Go back to our full list, the end of day scanner. And the first thing we're going to enter here is pullback. Pullback level 4. These are my favorite pullbacks. So these are these, let me just quickly go back to the slides. These are these pullbacks where we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows red, while the last one is still green. That's what I like to see. Okay, so level 4 pullback, and we can see 105 stocks out of our 5,000 stocks, that's not many, are currently in such a level 4 pullback scenario. Great, that's good. The other thing I want to enter into our scan is that we need to be bullish. So MA Rush needs to show us a bullish trend. We're going to pick the MA Rush column here and select bullish. All right, so now we're down to 98 stocks. All right, and then, of course, there's still a lot of stocks to go through. I like to sort from highest to lowest in terms of trend length. So this also goes with our MA Rush column here, where I'm simply sorting these numbers. They're all up trends, these up arrow here, they're all in green, which means it's an uptrend. But now let's sort by trend length. And the first one that comes up actually is a German stock. Deutsche Telekom, German telecommunication. Let's quickly look at this one just to exemplify the scenario here. I'm going to open it up on the chart and we can see, yes, indeed, look at this. We do have a little red patch here while the last row is still green. Very nice. And this could be an interesting opportunity to enter into this long-term uptrend. This stock has been an uptrend for a long time, for 1,228 days. And in fact, we called out the stock for different reasons a week ago where it was near this support level. It broke it, unfortunately, so that's a bit of a yellow flag. Not a red flag, but a yellow flag that, hey, now we need to fight against this broken support level, which may act as resistance. But I still think, given the fact that, hey, this is such a long-term trending stock, we are only at a level 4 pullback, this can still be a very interesting long opportunity. So I'm going to enter this as our first pick for today. I'm going to create a new watch list. Going down here, create, and it's going to be setups, con 2025 04/12 for April 12th. All right, so I'm going to add this symbol to it. Oops, I did it a bit too fast. My computer's a little bit slow today. Oops, there we go. Okay, add it to that watch list. Next one is Mr. Cooper Group. All right. Okay. Here we also pulled back 4 levels, and I kind of like this one. Also for the fact that we got this gap fill done. Thankfully, these gaps are always a a bit of a heads up for me where price may come down to in the future. We had this huge up gap, it got filled. So I'm not too surprised that this former resistance level didn't hold up because we needed it to break for this gap to fill, which has happened now. And now, ideally, if prices perhaps come down a little bit further, maybe towards the 100 level, which would be a big psychological number as well, this could be a great opportunity to enter into this long trade, because then we also would have the support level down here to help us bounce price to the upside. And also our third MA rush line is right there. So I really like this one. I'm going to actually draw this in here real quick with my little tool. So if prices perhaps come down to this level, this could be a very interesting long opportunity. All right, so I'm going to add this one as well. Okay, done. Next, Antero Midstream Corp, ticker symbol AM. Let's check it out. So here we had the opposite. We had a down gap, which is yet to be filled, and we are right at the support level. And you know what I noticed? And it's just, once again, intuition, and I may be completely wrong, but if a broken resistance level, this greenish line here, and the below and the support level below, if they're fairly near together, chances are price actually will power through this resistance level and go straight to the other one. I've seen this time and time again. Actually, let me quickly give you another example of this, just to demonstrate to you what I mean by this. So here, broken resistance, this green box is fairly close to this red one here, and price went all the way straight to the red one. Another prominent example of that one was our SPY. I had this in the very beginning. So let me just quickly detour. Give me 1 second. So back to the SPY. Look what happened here. Very similar, if memory serves me correctly. Oh, it was quite the opposite. But anyways, these zones, if they are close together, in this case it was just the opposite, chances are prices will power through the first one and stop at the other one. If they are close together. If they are further away, then the first one may hold up again. So I'm going to try to, see or try to pay attention to this for the next time when we see a scenario like this, to give you guys a heads up. Hey, these two zones are fairly close together. Prices may go all the way to the second one instead of stopping at the first one. All right. So that was that. And just real quick, sorry for the D2QQQ. I think was the exact same thing. Let's have a quick look. What happened here? Yeah, fairly close together. Look what happened. Went to the second one. Maybe it's just a fluke. Who knows? But I'm gonna train my memory to pay attention to these scenarios, because it's perhaps, of course, we'll see moving forward, but perhaps that could be something of validity. Okay, so now back to my original scan. So it was, what was the scan? Oh, level 4 pullback and bullish MA rush and sorted. Perfect. So we were Antero Midstream Corp. Live cattle futures. Where are we there? I believe I called this one out too at some point for a zone break retrace or something. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah. Was it here? Maybe we called it out here in the beginning of March. It went a bit deeper, then up again, and now we're here at this broken resistance level. Yeah, I think if you are a swing trader, perhaps for cattle, live cattle, this could be an interesting long opportunity as well, especially if I guess this contract is going to be fairly pricey. I was saying, especially if there's a micro contract available. I don't believe it is, but even from a day trading point of view, if you think this could be a bottom and you see some bullish setups from a day trading point of view, you can always use this one. Hey, we are also longer term at this key level where prices may bounce off from. All right, and one more, Prime Energy CP. And this is interesting too, because here we not only are having a level 4 pullback as per our trend radar indicator. We not only are long-term bullish for 804 trading days, but in this case, we are also at a support level. You can see it here. It's a long bounce setup at the same time. We'll be exactly at the support level. And in fact, I forgot to add these things to my list. I'm going to add this one for sure. It's a very interesting one to bounce off this level. And there's also no other level below, which is good. What was the other one? It was Antero Midstream Corp, I believe, if I didn't put this one in there yet. Yeah, so here we bounce at the second level, which is encouraging. We're going to add this one as well to our list. Perfect. And just out of curiosity, I think we had AM before. I can see here there's a trade note. Let me just see what the trade note was back Oh, that was last week. Oh, yeah, last week. All right. Yeah, last week we were exactly here at this broken resistance level, which I thought, hey, it's going to act as support. And then I could have, had I seen this observation first before, or had I seen this observation last week, I could have said, hey, but the support level is right below. Maybe the correction is going to be a bit further, perhaps. But of course, hindsight is 2020. All right, but I think you get the idea of how we can identify these levels. Now, Nicholas, let me ask you a question. Are there any questions in the chat actually right now to be answered? What do we
Yeah.
have?
So, one is from Robert. Before the session ends today, can you comment if there's any new features for the dashboard?
In general or since when, Robert? Let me qualify, because there are plenty of features. The last thing we did was to adjust the screen size of the size of the dashboard so that it fits exactly on your browser screen. There's no more scrolling of the overall page needed. That was the last one we added.
Then Aubrey says, "Oh, okay, when you mentioned you're not following the the Brazilian real, he said, so you're just partying in Brazil then."
Yeah, party Brazil. I wish yeah, of course it's nice to be in the warm weather for sure, but I also helped my mother-in-law move, which was over the week, which was quite something because she has a lot of animals, and she was moving from an area which is not so safe in Fortaleza, which is by itself not a very safe place. So it was a bit dicey at times. But yeah, you can call this partying as well, especially in the evenings after everything. The work is done, the beer tastes extra good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And sorry, guys, I saw a comment they couldn't hear me. My mistake. And Robert then says, can the support lines close decisions? So I guess can decisions made around liquidity IQ support or resistance levels be clarified by vol IQ, which I
Well,
suppose is volume IQ?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this is something we hopefully are going to be adding to the dashboard in the next couple of months. It's a huge project because that's a very complex indicator. But yeah, absolutely. So these are the best setups. And Nicholas, I think we did, and I forget where we stand with that, but we did some back test where a key support level of liquidity IQ coincide with the zone of control of volume IQ. And the idea was to check whether this would actually reinforce that level even further for a potential bounce. And I believe for initial back test results were very encouraging.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and we
absolutely.
saw that recently with the gold breakout from the live trading, which kept going once it was broken, and we also saw it when with Nasdaq yesterday. We saw there was no zone of control at the support, and we thought, hey, it's not going to hold, and it didn't hold, and price kept dropping. It retraced all the way under 18,000 intraday. So definitely.
Yeah. But if levels line up, of course, then you have something called confluence, and that's always can be a sign of strength about a certain level of price. Alrighty,
That's it for
perfect.
questions.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Let me go back to my slides. There we go. Okay, this was the healthy pullback, but now let's add another ingredient to it. Let's talk about a bounce. So a bounce is a setup where price is near a support level. And we've already seen some examples of this when I look for the pullbacks. But in this case, we want to find stocks which are right now near a bounce level and potentially will be bouncing up to the upside. And we're going to add another filter to this, asking price or trend to be also in a long-term uptrend state. So how can we scan for those? So back to the dashboard. And the first thing I'm going to show right now is how to enter into our scanner here, the long bounce setup. So all you need to do is you go to our liquidity IQ column here and select long bounce. And now I want you to pay attention to something because that's quite unique, but it's also very characteristic of the current market conditions. So let me click on it and observe the numbers down here. So I'm going to click long bounce and you can see a spectacular high number of symbols, 975. That's it's 25, well, no, it's 20%, roughly 20% of all our symbols are currently near a support level. That's a crazy high number. Normally, this is much, much lower. When markets were, in their usual bullish state, this number was much, much smaller. But now so many symbols are at a support level. that tells you something about what has happened in the market. That's a good testimony of, hey, we did see a significant pullback. Of course, we did in the markets. Wow. Okay, so 975 stocks near support level, but let's add some extra filter to it. Let's add our next filter here for trend. We want these stocks to be bullish. So we're going to click on AMI Russia bullish, and now we're down to only 292 stocks. And now I'm going to sort by trend duration from highest to lowest. And the first one that comes up actually is an FX symbol. GPB GPY. All right. What do we have here? The British pound has been quite bullish as of late. But let me quickly see what's going on here. And yeah, look what happened. Long-term uptrend, of course, there are big moves going on, but we once again retraced back to a support level. I know there are some currency traders out here. We're at this level here. And yeah, this could be an interesting long bounce opportunity, even though short term, you look at this one here, we're making lower highs and lower lows, which is kind of a bearish sign. So maybe be careful. There might be a deeper retracement in store perhaps at this level, and then we may see a bounce. So I'm going to actually skip this one for our hot list. Next one, Eli Lilly, our classic. I like this one a lot. Look what happened here. So first of all, long-term bullish for 1,337 trading days. So that's great. We are in a corrective phase. That's also a fact. After this very parabolic move here, price has been sideways for a while. But it's encouraging that this support cluster, this level here, has been holding up. Of course, there was some turmoil also last week when every single stock was in turmoil. But I do believe that this level is strong. There's nothing really below this. Perhaps, yeah, this is just actually, let me quickly hide these so we don't get any confusion. I'm gonna hide the stop loss and target real quick. We can talk about this a bit later. So we're at this key support level, and there's nothing really below that. The next line is only perhaps this level, but that's miles away, or this level, which is even, oh, this is even negative. No, this is crazy. There's nothing below that, give or take. So this is clear. This is a strong support level. And also, we had this gap here. Look at this gap. Right now, we're at 736. To fill this gap, we have to go at least to 780, 790. That's already a sizable move, even if that trade only goes to this level. So I like this one for a long bounce. I'm going to add Eli Lilly to our hot list. Done. Okay. Linde PLC. Let's have a look here. All right. Okay. Also a big gap here, which didn't get fully closed. You see this down gap. Price attempted to close it. We are hovering near the support level. And also here, it's kind of a similar scenario because it's a very different stock. We have been in a long-term uptrend, now kind of consolidating a little bit, but we are at the lower end of this consolidation. And these can always be interesting ideas to enter in the direction of this overarching trend. So I'm going to add this one to our list. All right. And perhaps one more, PCAR, Packard Inc. Okay. What do we see here? Okay, we are also at the support level. Here, it's a bit different. Why? Because look at this line here. This is not, once this repaints, this is not too far away. This was a former support level. It went out of scope. But you know what? This is just a rule of thumb. I think it still may have relevance, and prices may, and actually already did, go towards this level. So here, I would be a bit more careful to say, hey, we're going to bounce off this level. It may actually go down all the way to this one. So I'm going to stay on the sidelines. And this goes back to my theory that if levels are too close together, chances are price is not going to respect the upper ones, but it's going to go all the way to the lower ones. And we see this one here. All right. And perhaps one more, the Ensign Group. I think we had this one also at some point. Yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. Where prices are bouncing off this level. We have this level below here, but that's quite far, more farish away, 10 points away. So, yeah, this could be one for a bullish bounce as well after this big move. Even though here, once again, it seems to me like we're making lower lows and lower highs along the way. So maybe we might come all the way down to this level. Actually, I'm going to be a bit careful with this one. And one last, Hubble Inc. I think we had this one too at some point for a bounce. Oh boy, he went actually below this level. Now we bounce right above it. But here, I think this level has been broken already, and I think it lost its strength a little bit. All right, so this was the bounce setup. I think we found some interesting ones. Are there any questions for the bounce?
Nope, you're good to continue.
Good to continue. Perfect. All right. Now, moving on to our last setup. And I know you guys already know what it is. Zone break and zone break retrace. And I always say at this point, nothing lasts forever in life. Eventually, every zone will be broken, be it a support zone to be broken to the downside or potentially a resistance zone broken to the upside. But if this happens, also opportunities are opening up for us. So price may continue in the direction of the breakout for quite some time afterwards. But before it does, we may see after some initial movement, we may see some retracement back to the broken level. We call this the zone break retrace. You can see it here. Resistance was broken. Price initially went up, and then it retraced back to the broken level, which is now acting as support. And then really the price takes off from that point on. So this by itself can be a very powerful setup. So let's see if you can find some of these kind of setups. I like these actually better because here the initial fake out, this initial move up has already passed, and basically nothing really holds us back anymore once we retrace back to this level. So let's check it out. How can we find a zone break retrace? So I'm going to clear out my scanner, and I will enter here with our liquidity IQ setup column these long break retrace criteria. And just like we saw so many bounce setups, we're going to see another abnormality right now because we're going to find very few long break retrace setups. Only 4. That's crazy. So only 4 items have qualified for zone break retrace. Again, that's due to the very specific and extreme market conditions right now. Okay, so which ones do we have? Pound Kiwi, another pound pair. Pound has been very bullish across the board against most other currencies, but right now, look what happened. We make a nice higher highs along the way, along higher lows. This is a very beautiful trend line. If I were to draw this right here, now look at this nice trend channel, higher highs, higher lows across the board. And now we arrived at the lower end of this trend channel, which coincides with this broken resistance level. Look at this green line here. £4 in GPB, right at this level, we broke resistance here, then went up, then retraced back to it, and now we're exactly there again. This could be indeed an interesting long opportunity into this currency pair if you're an FX trader. All right. So that's an interesting one. In fact, we never do FX. I'm going to add it just because of this 2-hour list, just to see how it pans out for next week. Next one is GFIN, Giant Group Inc. ADR, whatever that stock may be. And of course, you can always click on this little info box here to see what this stock is all about. Online consumer finance services for China. All right. Okay, so this has been a steep uptrend. And I'm only counting on this stock from a purely technical point of view. We made an all-time high around 16 and then retraced now towards this broken resistance level. And this is a long-term uptrending stock at 443 up days so far, or days within an uptrend. And now we retraced back to this resistance level. But this would be a candidate, perhaps, that if we go to this one, we may as well go to the support level because it is fairly nearby. So here, I'm just going to put a little mental note for me here. We see prices actually go all the way back here. Because if we approach this level, maybe it doesn't have that much strength. We're going to go all the way back to this former support level. I'm going to add it to our list anyways. All right. And perhaps one more, XYF, X Financial ADR. All right. What are we seeing here? An XYF. Yeah, similar thing. What is this stock doing? Let me just quickly check. Oh, I wonder if they're related. Also for finance services in the People's Republic of China. Very similar curve indeed. We're approaching this level and the broken resistance level now I think support is very close to this level. So yeah, kind of similar, where we also may see a bounce towards the middle of these two ranges before this uptrend continues. But yeah, also an interesting one. But I think these two are somewhat correlated. All right. Perfect. With that, any questions, Niklas, for our retrace setups or our bounce setups that we've seen
No,
so far?
but we don't have any questions on those, but we do have some questions. One's from Robert. He says he can see himself wanting to have Liquidity View on two different monitors. Is there any limitation with that? And no, you can do that. You can log in, I think, on as many devices
Yeah.
as you want, right, to the dashboard,
Yeah. And
or tabs. Yeah.
the only limitation is that these two tabs will not talk with one another. So if you click on one here, on one symbol, it will not open up the chart on the other one. So I guess that's the only limitation. They cannot be connected that way. But besides this, yeah, do it. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, and he also said he could see himself having the dashboard on one monitor, then a trading view with our indicators on another monitor. And again, totally possible, just they won't communicate the two tabs, especially between trading view and the dashboard. And then we have a question, is Eli Lilly an immediate buy, or would you wait for it to go higher? And if so, how high would you wait for it to go in order for it to finally be a buy?
Okay. I mean, if it's an immediate buy, of course, I like it because we're at this level and there's nothing below. So I think that's a very reasonable price. The stock is right now. Uh, I think what we're seeing right now of Eli Lilly is very much expected after this huge upwards move, that there's some consolidation. What I also like about this is this gap, as I mentioned before, that we have a gap to fill above us. Yeah, so I think, I mean, if you want to take a shot, this is the region where you want to do it, as the option professor would say. And again, we have this gap to be filled here. So yeah, maybe do it with options if options are affordable. What you can also do is you can potentially, if this is a symbol that you would consider anyways having in your portfolio, maybe consider writing puts on it. Collect the premium if you don't get put, if prices don't reach your strike price at expiration. Then you just collect the premium. If not, writing puts will allow you to even get this the stock cheaper on the strike price should you get put. So yeah, both are possible, and or just buy outright calls, which of course will be quite pricey at this stock price here. But at least then you're limited risk should prices go down any further. From a technical point of view, I don't really see any other levels. Potentially this one here, but that's a very old level and quite far off this current support level. So that's my 2 cents on this stock.
Perfect. Thanks, Daniel. And then a question from Robert. Do you have any comments on the stock which just did its IPO called NMAX?
Oh, probably not. Uh, didn't we have this one last time as well?
If it just did its IPO, I don't think we'll have it in the dashboard.
Yeah, I don't. So even if it's just if there's very little data available, because we're technicians, then we're not gonna have much data to work off from. So probably not, probably. But I did
Okay.
hear about that IPO. I know. I wonder where it came from. I think we had it in our last lunch and learn session, perhaps, or maybe in last week's scanning session.
Oh, it's
But
Newsmax. So
yeah,
you've heard of that.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, but no comments from a technical point of view. If there's no data points, it's hard to do any technical analysis. Perfect. Okay. So now let's go through our hot list to see which ones are the most interesting one. I'm gonna once again sort them by setup. Let's have our bounce setups first. So Mr. Cooper Group. All right. What is my take here? Now I kind of already annotated this. Here I want prices to come down to this support level. And once again, this may be tested. We might be onto something. So this resistance level didn't hold up because this support level was so nearby below. And we had this gap. So there's lots of factors here why prices actually didn't hold here. But I do like it if we get to this level for a long trade for sure. So I'm going to add this one here to it. And look what we did here. We called out back in November 2000 or November 11th last year an entry at 98 with a target of 108. Look where we actually went. We completely exceeded this target. So I'm going to add another note similar to this here. I'm actually going to add just a screenshot showing, hey, this is going to be our entry if prices come down to this level. Great. All right. So that's an interesting one. Antero Midstream Corp. All right. Also a gap here to be filled, but that's far away. And, two things close together. We're at the lower end here. And Yeah, if we have seen a low point in the market, I think this is a very interesting one too. I'd put my stop just below this level here, the swing low at 15, and then potentially yeah, put my target just at this gap fill. See this down gap here? This could be a great target around 1792. So I like this one as well. Gonna add AM as well to our mix. All right. Adding it. And then we have the German telecommunication. And this one looks good too. I like this company. It's very bullish for a long time. But of course, maybe not everybody of you will be able to invest into this market. But if you can, I like it that we you know what, maybe I don't like I still like it, but I don't like the fact that we don't really have a technical level where we are right now. And we have this former support level now acting as resistance. Actually, for this one, I'm gonna wait until we can clear this level to see to potentially enter into this one. I'm gonna stay on the sidelines for the German telecommunication. Okay, next setup was Eli Lilly. Yes, I like it. I'm gonna call this one out. I like it at the current price levels. The support has held more or less at this level. I think long term, we're going to see a bounce to the upside, especially since we have this gap here, which I like. So I'm going to add Lilly to the mix.
David points out
Call
that the setup from Mr. Cooper was acquired. Mr. Cooper, the company, was acquired by Rocket Co., so it might have a ceiling if the deal goes through.
Oh, okay. These are some. That's actually a great comment, because you should always do a bit of extra due diligence of what's actually going on with that particular symbol you might be investing in. So that's a great comment. Thanks for that. All right. So here, fun fact, we called out Eli Lilly on Gen 18 when it was at this level here, around 725. Then we had this huge move up. So now we're going to try to rinse and repeat the same thing. So let's see if we can do the same thing again. We are once again at the 725, right now 732 level. So maybe we can do the same thing. The idea is the exact same thing, that we're going to bounce off this level. All right. Good old Eli Lilly. It's been good to us in the past. Okay. Prime Energy Corp. All right. Okay, yeah, also at the support level, there's not much below, and it's long-term bullish. I like this one too. And level 4 pullback. Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. I'm just gonna add it right off the bat as well. Perfect. Looks good. And moving on. Done. Linde PLC. Okay. Not sure what they do. I always remember Linde is some kind of chocolate, but I don't think that's what they do. Let me just quickly see. Oh, no summary found. Oh, gosh, look into that. Okay. I think it's because it's a German stock. Maybe the summary was not available. Yeah, I'm gonna skip this one for the simple reason that we had this huge wick down far below the support level. I think it may have weakened it because of that. And it's kind of a bit sideways here. So yeah, I'm gonna skip this. I'm not too convinced on that one. It has these huge wicks, and it's a bit hard to put your stop there if you see price movements like this, actually in both directions. Crazy. So I'm gonna skip it. Okay, now the zone break retrace ones. Pound Kiwi. All right. I'm gonna stand to my word. I like this setup. I'm just gonna call it out that hey, we may see another leg up because we're gonna bounce off this broken resistance level. I like it. So I'm going to add this one as well with our nice trend channel. Let's see how this one pans out. Okay. And and from these ones, I'm only going to pick one. Gylene Group Inc. ADR. Something I have no idea about what the stock is all about. But yeah, if you see a retracement to this level in between, this could be an interesting opportunity for a long trade. Let me just quickly see what is this other one, which seemed to be related to this one. XYF. Yeah, similar thing. Oh boy. Which one do I like better? I think I kind of like this one better. If we see a retracement towards this level, this could be an interesting long opportunity. But of course, here I want prices to really come down a bit further before I would consider a long trade. So I'm going to add this one to our hot list. Perfect. All right. I think we have a good mix of interesting ideas for the week ahead. I'm already curious to see what is going to happen. How are these going to pan out? Perfect. So with this, Nicholas, do we have any symbol requests? Well, if you have any symbol requests, please put them into the chat right now.
Yeah, so not yet. We'll see if some roll in, but we have a comment from Moshe who said, yeah, Newsmax on the IPO went from 80 all the way down to the 20s. And he knows because he lost money trying to buy it. And
Mm.
Aubrey then says, when reviewing, can you please put the earnings date column, earnings date and dividends? For example, Mr. Cooper is coming up to earnings very soon.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thanks, Ari. For sure. So Mr. Cooper here. Yeah, earnings in 2 weeks, give or take, which can shake the markets. It's always good to be aware of when these are happening. So you can simply enable the earnings column by, checking this box here behind or in front of the earnings date box. And the same for dividend X date. You can see, hey, what are when do you have to, by which date do you have, or before which date you have to own the stock to receive the dividend, and then you can enter dividend yield to see, hey, which, oh boy, maybe I should have, in light of this, well, I guess it's by then, by the time this dividend will be paid out. Let's quickly see what's going on here. 1 second. So this stock here, JFIN, has a dividend yield of 7.21%. Let me just quickly see how regularly these dividends are being paid. Yeah, quite irregular. Okay, that's why. What this one? Same thing. Quite irregular. Oh boy, yeah. I'm not sure I would bet on the dividends here. What about Antero Midstream? 5%. That's pretty decent. They're probably in resources. Yeah, nice dividend paying stock at 5%. That's a cool one. Absolutely. I like this. I like Antero even more for this. The last dividend payment day or X date was Jan 29, but looking at the history, they're being paid out every quarter. So the next one is to be expected probably in April 29 or around that date. Yeah, could be definitely an interesting one to own if you want to collect the dividend.
Perfect. And we have a symbol request from Kevin, SLV, so silver.
Silver. Didn't we try to trade silver on our live trading workshop?
Yeah, we
did, huh?
decided we didn't want to do it, but it ended up going in the way we thought, but it was too late.
That was a long trade, right? Was it a long trade on
Yeah,
Thursday?
it was for a
Yeah.
break of 31, and I think it went to 32 and a half or something, the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Nicholas, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself.
Perfect. Okay, good. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, silver is an uptrend for 273 trading days. But we are facing this resistance level. So here I'll be a bit careful. I would wait until we clear this level. I can see this little gap here to be filled. And you must think I'm obsessed with gaps. Maybe rightfully so. I don't know. We're gonna soon have our gap indicator to prove me right or prove me wrong. We'll see once we have the gap indicators out there with some statistics. But yeah, we did have this down gap. It's waiting to be filled, but I would still wait until we clear this resistance level and then potentially enter for a long trade, at least for this gap fill. Yeah, interesting one. All right. Great. Any other symbols? We had
No
silver
symbol
there.
requests. I definitely agree on the silver. It's kind of got a bit of a downtrend going the short term.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody has any symbol requests, let us know.
Yeah. And while you're putting these symbols, let me quickly talk about our Discord channel because I wanted to show you something, which you are probably aware. Where's our Discord channel? I thought I had it open. Just a second. Just gonna open it up here real quick. Discord. Yeah, please put your symbols. I'm just gonna open up the Discord channel because I wanted to share something with you. Don't forget to join it. Open Discord. And thanks, by the way, for filling out the survey for everyone who did. This gave us really good feedback as to what you guys like about our Discord channel and perhaps things that can be further improved. So thank you so much for that. All right. So here, what I wanted to say is we just posted the recording of our live trading workshop. So if you are a day trader, definitely check it out. It was so much fun on Thursday when we did the live trading. I think most of our calls, they were pretty much spot on that we did there, even though we didn't get filled sometimes, but at least the direction that we had in mind worked out quite nicely. We ended up taking 2 trades then, which also worked out very nicely. long gold, which we closed out way too early, Nicholas. And
Yeah,
then we had
crazy. It
also,
went went to all-time highs within an hour.
I'm so sad. Whatever. Nah, yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's all good. And the second trade was natural gas, a short trade, which also, yeah, worked out nicely. So great trades. Check it out on our at the recording here of our live trading workshop. It's yeah, it was so much fun. I really had a good time at the session, not just because we booked two winners, but also the way we just looked at the markets and bounced off ideas and the questions that came in. It was yeah, very nice. All right, that's this. So let me see if I know some symbols are coming
There's
is.
one SMMT
All right.
from Aubrey, and Aubrey says it has 20% short interest. So 20% of the float is short.
Okay. Summit Therapeutics. All right. Earnings coming up at the end of the month. Okay, so we are bullish for 311 days, but we are approaching this key resistance level. Yeah, our price bounced off a few times in the past. Highest miles away. So here I mean, I'll be wary for a long, I would be careful for a long trade right now. We're just very close to this resistance level. If we clear it, I think then we have good chances of going all the way here. What I also don't really like about this one, but then again, you may call me obsessed with gaps, is that this big gap here was not even close to be filled. So you maybe there's even going to be a further lag down. Who knows? We have this big support zone. We are miles away, but that's something at least to keep an eye on. So if we break this support at some point, potentially, I think this would be a target here, the 1275 level. But right now, I would stay on the sidelines. Whether I would go short here against the overarching long trend, maybe not. But I would wait until we clear this level and then potentially enter long if we do. That's my take. All right.
Perfect. And then I'm checking to see if we have another symbol. Robert just says, good session today. Excellent session. Very helpful to see your thought process. There's a lot to learn. Where would we be without
Great.
the view? Thank you,
Ah,
Robert, for the feedback.
I totally agree. Thanks, Robert. Meaning, if you don't have our awesome dashboard yet, please consider signing up for a free trial at tradingindicators.com/view. And the link is also in the chat, I believe. Perfect, guys. All right. With this, it is steaming hot in my hotel room. I switched off the AC because I didn't want to have any background noise, but I think it's time to switch it back on again. It's so hot, and you can see it probably on my red face. But yeah, it's been fun. I'll be back in Montreal next week. So the next session we're gonna have at the latest for the next live scanning session will be out of our beautiful office in Montreal again. With this, have a nice weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining, and see you next week. In fact, actually, a couple of announcements real quick for next week. Actually, let me go back quickly to my slides. A couple of announcements is that first off, we have our lunch and learn on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Then I will also be at David Cosmider's timing and research show, I believe also on Tuesday before that at 11 a.m. So big Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we're doing something brand new, which has not been seen there maybe ever. We're attempting something called speed trading. But there's a bit of a caveat. This session will be offered in German because we do it together with a German broker, which with which we developed this concept. So we're gonna try it out there. But if this is successful and if it's doable in that format, it's only with 30 minutes of power trading from a day trading point of view. We're definitely gonna bring it over to the English channel as well. So that's on Wednesday, and then of course we have what else do we have? Yeah, we have a live scanning session on Saturday again next week. All right, guys. With that, have a great weekend. Enjoy your time off and stay safe. Talk to you soon. Bye bye. Thanks, Nicholas.